Hello everyone, and welcome to the sixth video of our tutorial series about Grimport. In today's video, I will teach you everything you need to know about control structures, which will allow you to control the flow of your Grimport code. So let's get started. The first thing we will talk about are conditional structures. They will execute a certain number of instructions if and only if a certain condition is verified. Remember, in the previous video, we'll talk about conditional operators. In fact, they are shortcuts for conditional structures. The first one we will see is the if statement. It's one of the most used conditions, and it will allow you to execute a block of code if the result of your test is true. Okay, let's start with an example. I've written my variable fries, which is equal to 5, and then I've written 3 if statements. An if statement is written as if, then between those parentheses you have your condition, and then between the brackets you have what will be executed on your code. As you can see, the first and the last if statement are wrong because we have fries equal 5, so it will return false. So the console not enough fries and the console too much fries will not appear when you launch the script. But the if statement if fries equals 5, which console perfect, will appear because it returns true. Let's save the script. Okay, then launch it, and you have perfect. The if condition is simple to understand, but is also limited because it only works when the result is true. To fix that, let me introduce you the if-else structure, a more complete structure that will allow us to execute a block of code when the condition is true, but also when it's false. Let's try with an example. So let's say hungry equal true. Then we write our if statement. So if hungry. So here we are checking if hungry is true, and if it is, we'll display I wanna eat. And then we introduce our else structure, or else statement, sorry. So here, if the test is false, then everything between the else brackets will be executed. So we'll execute console I am full. Save the script. And then launch it. And we have I wanna eat. Now let's change the condition in the if condition. So we'll say not hungry by putting the logical not. Now save the script. And then launch it. And we get I'm full. So what's between the else brackets? Because now the condition is false. And finally, there is an even more complete structure than the if-else condition, and it is the if-else condition. It might sound repetitive, but this condition will allow us to manage several cases, and this is the one you will be using the most while coding. Let's start again with the fries example, but here, instead of putting another if statement after the first one, we'll put the else if statement. So it is written the same as the if and else statement. So else if, then your condition, fries equals 5, open the brackets, we'll say console perfect, and after the else if statement you can put your else statement, and else will console too much. Save your script. When the script is saved, you can launch it, and you can already tell what is going to be displayed on the console. So we have perfect. A little tip when working with if-else structures is that you can compress this notation by putting the instruction after the statement or on the line below. So here this could work, but you could also do console right behind else if, and we'll do the same with fries. And as you can see, this will work the same. So let's save the script, and there we can launch it, and we have the same thing. Now let's talk about the switch statement, which is an alternative to the if-else condition. It allows us to execute a code depending on the value of a variable. However, the switch will be bound to a specific case without using greater than or lesser than. You can think of it as having a drink at the McDonald's, and you have to choose if you want a Coke, a Pepsi, or an iced tea. In a switch, the first thing you will have to do is initialize your variable on which you are going to execute the switch. So here I've already created an example for the switch case. So I've created the variable drink choice, which is equal to Pepsi. Then here I'll initialize my switch, and after that we have to write the different cases. Like an if statement, each case represents a block of code, and the switch statement determines which block of code will be executed. To declare a case, just start a line with the word case. And after putting what you want the console to display, or what you want your code to do, don't forget to put the keyword break at the end, which forces an exit of the case after executing it. Save the script, launch it, and we get enjoy your Pepsi. Because drink choice is equal to Pepsi, so the switch decides which case is equal to Pepsi, and after choosing it, it displays what's between the console. Now you might ask yourself what happens if the variable we created doesn't match any case. So here I've put Sprite instead of Pepsi, and now if we save the script and launch it, normally nothing will happen. In this case, we use the keyword default. It works the same as the elf in an if-else structure, and you can put what you want to do if the variable doesn't match any case. So we'll say wrong drink. Then you can save the script, and we have noticed that the default statement doesn't need any break at the end. Launch the script, and we have wrong drink. Next, we'll talk about looping structures. Looping structures will execute a block of code in a loop as long as a given condition is verified. The first looping structure we'll see is a while loop. A while loop executes a set of instructions until a condition becomes false. This type of loop is usually used when the number of iterations is unknown. You can think of it as being at the drive-thru, waiting for your order number to be called. Let's simulate that with a while loop. So here I've created a variable called order number, which is equal to 1. Then I've initialized my while loop. So you have while between parentheses your condition. So this loop will be executed until order number reaches 3. Then we'll display on the console order number with the value of your variable order number. And then it's also extremely important to don't forget to increment your variable at the end of the loop. Because if you don't increment order number, the loop never ends, as order number will never reach the value 3. It's called an infinite loop, and it can crash the program if you don't put here an end condition to your loop. Save your script. Then you launch your script. And as you can see, the loop stops when order number equals 3, and the value of order number is incremented each time the loop is iterating. So we have seen that the while loop is used when the number of iterations is unknown, But if you know exactly how many times you want to execute a block of code, you can use the for loop instead of the while loop. It is written as for, and then you have three statements between your parentheses. The first statement is executed at the beginning of the loop and is usually initiate a counter. The second statement is evaluated at each iteration, and if this statement is true, then the iteration continues. And finally, you have the statement 3, which is executed at the end of each iteration. We'll try an example. So here I've created my loop. For this loop, for the statement 1, we initialize the variable team member, which is equal to 1, and which will be used as a counter. For the statement 2, we are defining the condition team member is less or equal than 4. If this condition is true, then the loop continues, else it stops. And for the statement 3, we are incrementing the team member's value after the loop block code has been executed to avoid an infinite loop. Let's save the script. When it's saved, launch it. And we have our loop, which ends when team member is equal to 4. And we have team member, the value team member, which is incremented each time the loop is iterated. On the looping structure, there is also the for in loop, which is used to iterate through a set of values. The general form of this loop is for, then you have the name of your variable, in the set of values that you want to iterate through. Let's see an example. So let's create a list. So I will say employees equals Ken, then maybe John, and let's say Sally. Then we put our for in loop, so for the name of your variable, so I will say employee in the list employees, open your brackets, and we'll say console employee. Save your script. Okay, it's already saved, and it will result with the name of every employee being displayed on your console. So let's see, and we have Ken, John, and Sally. The for in loop also works with maps by referencing keys and values with the pointers .key and .value. So let's change our list into a map. So I will say Ken equals 21, then John equals 25, and Sally equals 23. Then we'll change our for in loop. So on the code, we'll change console by console employee.key plus is plus employee.value plus years old. On your map, Ken is a key, so Ken, John, Sally are both keys, and 21, 25, and 23 are values. So we'll have, as a result of this loop, the name of the employee, so Ken is, then the value, so Ken is 21 years old. Let's try it by saving the script, then launch the script. Oh, I forgot to put a spacebar between employee. No, it's here for the is, and maybe at years old also. So let's save it and do it again. Okay, it saves, launch the script, and here it's better. And as you can see, we have a fancier way to present our employees. Next, let's talk about methods for iterating. Grimport provides two ND methods for iterating, the each method that we have already encountered on the previous video, and the each with index methods. Both methods are used to iterate the object and return the value of the given objects. Let's try an example for the each method. So let's say our list days. So I will create Monday, then Tuesday, Wednesday, then Thursday, and we'll keep it to Friday. Now that the list is created, we'll use the method each, so days.each, open your brackets, and we'll say console it. It here is the default iterator of the each method. You can use it if you want, but I would suggest naming the element you want to iterate. This makes your code more readable, so instead of putting console it, you can put the variable day, then the closure structure, console day. Save your script, and it will result as each element of the list days being displayed on the console. Launch your script, and there you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. With the each method, you can also iterate through maps. I've created my map, then I will put map.each, open the brackets, then we'll say my key and my value, use the closure structure, then console my key plus, we'll say a right arrow plus my value, then save your script, launch it, I have an error for what? Oh, I put okay MPA instead of map. Okay, save it again, and then relaunch it, and we have 1 equals 1's value, which was A, 2 with B, and 3 with C. Sometimes you will also need to know the index of the items you are iterating through. In this case, we use the each with index method. It is more complete than the each method because it provides the value of the current index in addition to the current element. So let's see an example. So for this example, I took the list days again, with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Then I use days.the method each with index. I'm using the variable day and the variable index, which is the default index that each with index method use, but you can change this variable name, on whatever you want. Then we'll console we are with the day we are passing through on the list days, and the index of this day that we will increment each time we are changing day. So let's save the script, and let's see, and we should have we are Monday, and it's day number 1, and yes, it's actually working. And lastly, let's talk about the break and continue statements. We have seen in the case of the switch the break statement, which allow you to leave under certain condition a structure. We can also find the break statement in other structures. So in this example, I've created a for loop in which I've created the variable order number, and normally, as you can see, this for loop should stop when order number's value is equal to 10. But inside this for loop, I've put also an if statement. So if order number equals to 6, then we break the loop, so we stop the loop. Let's save the script and see what it does. And so with the if condition, we are stopping the loop when order number equals to 6. Now imagine you are calculating the sum of the first 10 positive integers, but you want to exclude the number 6. You can achieve this using the continue statement in a for loop. In this example, I've created the variable sum, which is equal to 0, and then I've created a for loop for I equal 1, and then until I reach the value of 10, we are incrementing the value of I, and we are adding each value of I to sum. So basically, what this for loop does is the sum of the first 10 positive integers, which is equal to 55. So if we console this for loop, we'll get 55. But if I put if e equals 6 and then continue, what this will do is that it will skip the value of e equals 6. So the sum will be equal to 55 minus 6, because we are not counting, we are not adding to sum the value of e equals 6. So let's save the script, and we should get 49. And now we get 49 because we are excluding 6. And that's it for this video. We have covered everything you need to know about control structures in Grimport. Remember that you don't need to master them all to improve, but it's still a good thing to know how to use each of them in specific conditions. In the next video, we'll talk about data manipulation, how to extract data from a page and export it on various formats. Thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.